So after years of trying to understand the missed opportunity that was Shazam facing off against Black Adam on the screen, a battle that literally would have printed money, we're starting to peel back the onion as more and more layers become visible. It's obvious that the looming failure of both franchises rests firmly in the hands of one man, Dwayne Johnson. But before we begin, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. I know everyone asks that, but it's the only way to make sure our content gets to you. Dwayne Johnson is a notoriously nice guy in real life, but a very shrewd and protective businessman and opportunist. And one thing that Dwayne has been consistently critiqued about throughout his time in the spotlight is his lack of desire to share that spotlight. While most of Dwayne's co-stars have nice things to say about working with him, especially his female co-stars, Dwayne's desire to hog the spotlight has started to become evident in the background of projects he's attached to. There was a very public blowout between Vin Diesel and Dwayne Johnson that saw the latter exit the Fast franchise and refuse to work with Vin or in the franchise at all anymore, posting a pretty scathing, now deleted Instagram post. While the post was quickly retracted, the entire situation essentially boiled down to, apparently, Vin Diesel giving Dwayne Johnson some acting advice on set, which is just an insane concept to think about, but you know, it just goes to show how fragile some of these guys' egos can be. But the issue with Shazam seems like it's more than that. So if you don't know what I'm talking about, over the last 24 hours, Twitter has been a firestorm of activity related to details on the underperformance of the film Shazam: Fury of the Gods. While we here at Key Issues saw Shazam: Fury of the Gods and thought it was pretty good, not a lot of other people are, at least comparatively to other superhero blockbuster franchises. However, from the wreckage of this online fallout came the bombshell that Dwayne Johnson was secretly positioning himself to be the center of the future of the DC cinematic universe, at least for a period of time. While we had known months ago that Dwayne was circumventing the normal processes and having high-level meetings with Warner Brothers and DC executives about the future of DC's cinematic universe, all that information kind of dried up when Black Adam was released to what amounted to be a literal wet fart of an audience reception. When Shazam: Fury of the Gods' first information was released, many fans, including myself, were praying that DC would somehow do the right thing and bring Black Adam into the mix somehow, but as more information came out, we started to see set photos and eventually trailers, it became evident that Dwayne Johnson's Black Adam was pretty far away from this film. But why? This doesn't make any sense. Black Adam and Shazam go together like peanut butter and jelly. They are arch enemies. This seemed like another miss in a long series of repeat misses for Warner Brothers. But seriously, who's the businessman that missed this opportunity to do the thing that fans of those characters wanted? Dwayne Johnson, that's who. New information has dropped and been confirmed by multiple sources and even Shazam himself, Zachary Levi, that Dwayne Johnson prevented not only Black Adam from crossing over with Shazam, but any of the other JSA characters that were in Black Adam. And apparently he was pretty serious about it because none of those characters were able to be used in Shazam: Fury of the Gods, even in a cameo capacity. While cameos don't make films great, the hype around Shazam being introduced to and joining the JSA could have easily built hype for the film and possibly even put butts in the seats in the theater that may not have went on the premise of the film or trailers alone. The Rock just didn't want to let anybody else gum up the works for him to be the center of the DC universe. Dwayne Johnson had been pushing for years for Black Adam to become this apex, all-powerful, end-all, be-all, mega badass movie character, and his endgame was to have Black Adam fight and presumably win against Henry Cavill's Superman. However, even with a cameo from Henry Cavill's Superman at the end of Black Adam, we're still probably not ever going to see another Black Adam solo film. The reason being is that it just happened too late. Audiences didn't care. WB and DC lost more money on Black Adam than the entire budget of the Batgirl solo film. So DC moved on with James Gunn, cut their losses, and they started the new DCU. And presumably DC is moving on without Black Adam, and that makes sense because audiences just didn't resonate with the property. And that makes sense. Despite the fact that these characters are extremely old, both debuting in the golden age of comics, they are not household names, and Black Adam was just not the movie that it needed to be in order to break into the upper pantheon of comic book films. Shazam's future is unknown in the DCU, but considering nearly everyone else and every other major project that wasn't already in production has been cancelled, it's not looking good. Personally, I think Shazam is a great character and he could be an S-tier franchise if the studio didn't decide to let an action star dictate their scripts, but this is the world that we live in. The other option is even more simple, and that's just soft reboot Shazam and recast the role of Black Adam. I know that it's unconventional in today's modern age of actors being closely tied to their superhero role, but if Dwayne doesn't want to share the spotlight, there's no point in hijacking and holding the character hostage. There are dozens of other franchises he could go and, take a giant shit on. And don't get me wrong, I really like Dwayne Johnson as a person, and I think most of his movies are pretty fun. But it really sucks that he decided to essentially hold a half a dozen or more characters hostage so that he could be the coolest guy in class. Last but not least, it also doesn't really make sense to me that Dwayne needed Black Adam to be a hero or an anti-hero when he could have very easily been an insanely compelling villain with a very long amount of longevity, akin to Thanos, if he would have just let himself be that villainous character. We all know he can play that role. He did it for years as a WWE wrestler. And that is about it for this video. Thank you guys for checking it out, and if you enjoyed it, please make sure to like and subscribe and turn on notifications. The majority of our views are from new viewers and new subs, so in order to make sure you see our content, hit the bell. It only takes 2 seconds. This has been Nick with Key Issues. Thanks again for watching, and remember the motto, Shazam over everything.